neglected because this is a problem that we face and we thought we could provide a solution. We were supposed to write how to build a nation of people to get things done, but you get the gist. I'm obviously going to go up, on that. That's the problem, or if you're going to comment.
Now, the situation is the large number of the population is under the age of 35. That's a big chunk of people, which is 65% of the total population, and most of them are unemployed. It's because of the social and educational system, which are not able to provide them enough job opportunities, and it's kind of pushing us to a situation which is the neck of a ball. Now, the second one is getting a satisfactory job. Most of us end up studying the subjects we don't want to study to get the jobs we don't have any passion for, which is a big problem. For an example, if we conduct a study in NSU, among the NSU BBA people, they will answer you they didn't want to study it just because they're studying it because it guarantees them a good, decent job afterwards. And the last one is mindset of the people. It's the most crucial part. Like, people will judge. They will judge based on your appearance, your academic performance, whatever you do, and especially by the academic field you're studying in. Now, for the problem identification, we have identified some problems, which is the first one is foundation of the education system. From the very early age, we are taught that lekhapora pore je gari ghora cholaise. Nobody say lekhapora pore je gari ghora banaise or gari ghora chalaise. So we have to change. We have to modify our educational system. Then the second one is lack of public belief. People don't believe you can support your family if you're a singer or a dancer or a painter, whatever. Now, the social security, people seek security if they want to live in a society. So, in order to do that, they choose the career paths they want to do. So, it's very complicated. And last thing, unemployment. It's the end result of all these solutions and problems that result into unemployment. These are the chunk of useless human resource, which would have multiplied their productivity, which would have multiplied their nation's productivity, but they cannot contribute to the nation, so that's a huge problem.
As she said, that this kind of mentality is holding us back and not letting people to do what they're really capable and passionate about, and indirectly causing the unemployment rate to increase. And the big idea is know yourself, build yourself, nijeke jano, nijeke bolo. And this will enable us to create a nation with doers. People can do what they're really passionate about and capable about. And actually, we end up doing to do what we don't really want to do, and this causes us to actually waste our time.
So the problem, how do we make vocational schools more appealing? So I thought of 3 pillars that might actually help. What if all the information was available, and this falls under open source? What if everything that you wanted to do, so the table you're sitting on, what if you could make it? What if there was a way you could learn it? What if all this information was free? Alright, what if this information is free is not the end, because there's lots of DIY things to do. Yeah, you need to see videos of people doing it, so that needs to be included. But these will be done by people who are actually doing it publicly in Bangladesh. But the most important part over here in the open source project is to remember the shop with all the materials available. Say you do want to build a table, but you don't have pieces of wood, you don't have the hammer or the saw, but you can. The system that we suggest is there is a weekly shop that comes in with a truck, and based on the order that you want, of the DIY projects that you want to carry out, and the things you want to practice, say do a small fishery in an aquarium, you can, and they'll just be by order. But the system of training has to be changed, and this is where it kind of gets interesting. There are vocational schools, and it's important that you go there because they will provide you with hands-on training. It's important. You can do it at home, but hands-on training is more important. They'll explain you. These are experienced people who get it done. This is encouraged practice. You'll get projects done. Say you just wanted to build a chair, then they teach you how to build a table. It builds up. It acclimates to something great. And this is where it comes in. Now, another idea of getting people into vocational school at an early on stage is introducing the idea of summer camps. How would you get a kid who is like studying vocational training? You wouldn't. But say if he had a vacation of 3 months and you're a parent who's worried that he's just going to be lazy, you would send him to some certain summer school to learn a new trick. Maybe he would learn how to, say, farm at home. You can do that. So those things are the things you build up on. Instead of having all the buildings in physical buildings, you can have after school hours. Perhaps you can take an institution that operates at day, at night, building is free. You can use that to support locations which do not have the institutional training nearby. And ultimately, your recognition, because if you do all these things, you need to be validated. Otherwise, it doesn't amount to anything. The third point pillar is you need to have competitions, and competitions like, say, your different categories, like agriculture, based on that. So you compete in those categories to see how good are you, and this kind of builds up your reputation and also builds up your confidence. You get potential job opportunities because these competitions could be sponsored by various private individuals, and also leads you to have entrepreneurial opportunity and guidance in the future. So, how do we move away from the old way of thinking? Because this is all good, but how do we get it done? Well, I suggest we do a mandatory school program system. Let's see if there's a kid in Dhaka, there's a kid in Brandwitz, and there's a kid in Kuala. They're from all walks of life. One is the son of a doctor, one is the son of a businessman, and the one is the son of a rickshaw, let's say, because he's from a very, very underprivileged part of the world. What you can do is, thanks to A2I and many of its resources, have online classes where you will get the time to do a simple project. Say a student of class 5, and a group of 6 people are assigned. All right, today you're going to learn, in the next 6 months you're going to learn how to build a motor. So everyone does their own part. What this does is not only encourages early on activities, hands-on activities, but also breaks the barriers of class mentality. As a child of a rickshaw might be capable, you just didn't know it, and you respect that, and it's more respectable that way. You encourage the pursuit of personal interest. Maybe you wanted to be an engineer, but you were not sure, but after building the motor, you were definitely sure. So, what are the future prospects from this? Well, more individuals get experience, the more they get value at the entrepreneurial side. So there could be programs that help. We're going to give you points, but you need to have the experience. The vocational training you do it early on will build up and help you take on these entrepreneurial experiences. There could be a central hub highlighting success stories. Say you are good, but no one hears about it. That's no good at all. So there needs to be some hub where the project is highlighted. And finally, a dedicated project highlighting part-time jobs available nearby. At early on stage, you need to take initiatives again if you can. This is what separates us from the West and the East. Because early on, part-time jobs will make you support susceptible to the environment and the real-life applications.
And now I'm going to talk about the budgeting process, but for the time being, I'll have to request my honorable judges to avoid the stuff that are repeating on the slides. So I'll try to explain the budgeting with my verbal communication. So first, we have allocated around 50 crore target for this project, of which 10 crore target will be allocated from the private sectors, specifically from the IT sectors and telecommunication sectors, and the rest 40 crore target will be allocated from the government's own budget. In this case, what we have decided, out of the 50 crore target budget, the 45% of the total amount of the budget will be allocated in changing the mentality of the existing people regarding the vocational training, and also creating a new generation that will be much more enthusiastic in taking part on this educational hub. And the rest of the 50% of the budget, which is around 25 crore taka, that will be allocated in creating an apparel and creating an appeal for the vocational training of the existing labor force that will be provided after school hours. So the aim is to increase the labor productivity in the long run, and also to create more entrepreneurs. And last of all, the remaining 5% of the total budget, which is around 25 lakh taka, that will be allocated for contingencies. If any political disruption or other thing happens, then this amount of money can be used to suffice the problem that happened during those disruptions. So my next one is going to explain.
Alright, we're in the last minute, and it's important to acknowledge that this plan is not on hold. There are limitations. This project scale has not been done, and we don't know if it will succeed. The success of the project depends on accessibility and acceptability. People might not still believe, after all that they've done. Maybe working with Risha all this time is not what parents go for, but this is definitely a start in the right direction. The project requires a lot of interaction with people. People have to participate. They have to get out there. They have to actually do it. But if we think, if the resources are available, and if the things are available, and it's made with such ease that you can get it easily, then I think it's possible. Thank you.
Alright, it was a fairly decent presentation. Good job. However, somehow you guys failed to understand the core problem of the case. As per my understanding, and as per the previous 5 teams, the problem is something like this. There are graduates, but there are no jobs. So we need to shift the mindset of the people that these graduates, they did not need to be graduated in a conventional education, right? They could simply choose to do vocational courses, which as per the people's mindset is below par, right? So the task was to rebrand vocational training in such a way so that people somehow have a positive vibe towards vocational training. That was the problem. In order to solve the problem in an ideal scenario again, the very idealistic scenario situation was to change the mindset of the people and grab their attention towards vocational training, which would require you to work on more on a rural scale. However, the plans you guys had mostly focused probably on Dhaka, and if we go out, probably Chittagong and Sylhet, not even Khulna and Rajshahi. That's one of the drawbacks of your plans, the plans you have. That is one. Since it's also required branding, I somehow did not see any brand building activities. Again, you guys could not do that because you guys could not understand the problem. If you did, then you guys would have come up with one simple RDC or TVC. At least you guys would have mentioned that we will be having a TVC or RDC. That's another problem. So I don't really have any question for you guys, but those are two of my observations. Yeah.
Thank you for nice presentation. Who is our target group in the present scenario? For example, vocational training, most of the vocational training are situated in the rural area, in either Upazila or district. Very few are located in the city area. Who got this training? Normally, these people, some are daughter or the poor people or unemployed people. So, you clearly mention this thing that which are target group. Second is, okay, do you have any idea the general education versus professional education, any idea, enrollment rate?
Vocational training is more like grade school. Say you learn.
How many? That is the percentage in Bangladesh perspective. The percentage of general student enrollment in our vocational training enrollment. Any country's ideas? Any idea?
Like, from the perspective of Bangladesh, the vocational training it is relatively low. Compared to the other countries like India specifically, because whenever the people they move on to the Middle East countries for the work, basically all the workers who go there are certified vocational training, certified by the vocational training programs. But in Bangladesh, there is a lot of scarcity in those things.
Okay. So you need to find out the root causes. For example, in Singapore, just if you go to the website, there are the vital education statistics published by Ministry of Education in Singapore. Just 2014 report. Their student enrollment rate is above 70% in the technical and vocational training in higher education, and only 30% in general education. That means there is central policy. You need more general education. So they are restricted some. So you need to emphasize the policy matter also. Otherwise, you build a good center, but nobody is training or training. Training content is important. So you need to emphasize this the national policy and just disobeying problems with me. Not this one, just problem is getting the satisfactory jobs. This is the real problem?
No, it's not a real problem. It's the situation that's been going on in this country. Like, we are not getting ourselves the jobs we want to do. So that's a huge problem. And we are always we're trying to achieve those goals our parents told us to achieve, and other social circumstances that are happening. That's why most of the people are being unemployed right now. Like they're always going in one path, one career, and that's what we try to show.
Okay. Sometimes we say that the general education people like job, and technical or professional training actually they create their own job, that is self-employed. So this is the issue. So only job creation is not the main issue.
So one observation that we had was that basically, say you do have programs, that help you to be more vocational, to learn this trade. But what happens is in vocational training, especially if you're going to the rural areas, what happens is you learn a certain trade. Say you do know fisheries, but you don't know how to do the business. Like that's a bit of a problem. That's where the block actually happens. Like a lot of people get the training, but they don't know how to actually say make it a business or make it viable. So that's why we kind of focus on those two divisions. We believe that in the long run, it's not going to be useful to do for now. We need to take the mentality from the start as the conclusion we came up with. Otherwise, you're not going to get people. You're still going to get a lot of people going to business education because it is prestigious, it is safe, it is secure. But that creates a volume. Suppose there are 50,000 jobs and there's like 1 million people applying for the same jobs. You're not going to get it. That's why I decided to approach the problem from a ground-up level and focus mainly on getting the youth early on. And we also provided some opportunities for the existing groups. That's why the open source material is. You can apply, you can compete, but you have to do it yourself.
Okay, this was very nice. Thank you very much.
Thanks, sir.